All right. Good evening, Spring School Board. We're live on YouTube. Phone lines are open. You may begin.
All right. Thank you very much. Welcome everybody here tonight and those at home. Suzanne, would you do roll call for us?
I certainly will. Eric Fredrickson.
Here.
Patrick Braband. Emma Field. Kate Saris.
Here.
And Dermot Quinn.
Here.
All members in attendance.
Thank you. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
One, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. So tonight we have open with our principal's report. Mr. Kell.
Good evening. So we have another very special board presentation for you guys. Next board meeting, we'll dive deeper into curriculum, assessment, progress monitoring, everything we're doing ultimately to reach those lofty goals we set. So we've been working hard from day one, but we also do a lot more outside of just the classroom, which all of you know well. And I have Ms. Firemark here with a couple superstars from the Diversity Club who are going to share not only about World Kindness Day, but what they've been doing in just a short period of time this year. So,
Good evening, everyone. I'm Vicki Firemark, and I'm the Spring School DEI Coordinator. I've had the honor and privilege of being the advisor for the Diversity Club for the past 4 years, and it's just been an amazing ride. Each year, I get to see amazing students, like the ones next to me, just grow into amazing human beings. They're thoughtful, courageous leaders. They help to organize events. They lead important conversations, support their classmates, and create really safe spaces where all students feel seen and heard. Much of this work that the students do, it occurs after school, but they also give up their recess time as well. They're very committed, and it's inspiring. They're consistently demonstrating their core values. They love to be of service. Today, for instance, you'll see in the slideshow, we went to the Springs Food Pantry, and they worked for 2.5 hours tirelessly creating the food bags for distribution for tomorrow. And they can't wait to go back, and they're already generating more ideas of how they can be of service. What can we do in the community to help? As optimism, they tackle tough topics all the time with hope and a belief that things can change for the positive. They're accountable. They own their mistakes when they make or do something wrong. They take accountability. They learn from those mistakes, and they hold one another to really high standards. And lastly, they are very respectful. They listen and honor different perspectives, and they like to take that into consideration before making any decisions or any changes. So I'm very proud of their hard work and the positive changes that they brought to our school. We prepared a short slideshow, and it highlights some of the club's accomplishments thus far this year. We hope you enjoy it. And what I probably should have done first, now that I'm doing it last, is introduce the students that are here next to me. My apologies. So we have, these are all actually 6th grade representatives right now. So we have Camilla, Natalie, Isabella, and College.
Well, welcome. Thank you guys very much.
Welcome here. And some of them are coming right from musical rehearsal. So they had a full day of school. They stayed after for the Diversity Club, and then they went right to musical practice, and now they're here. So.
Yeah. I really appreciate you guys coming tonight. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. kiddos raised $725.25. And the
Terrific.
that we were able to get
Nice work.
early today.
Nice work.
And they were very, very. And we also learned for 1,300 people. And so the donation came right on time, and their work and their efforts today to help prepare was just what they needed. Thank you so much for giving us this opportunity. I'd like to personally thank the board and our administrators, because without you guys, none of this work would be possible. I feel like I'm the lucky one because I get to be kind of like the in-between everybody, and without you, we wouldn't be here today. And so we are very, very thankful.
Thank you guys very much.
Thank you for being here.
We appreciate you being examples of our school's values: service, optimism, accountability, respect. You guys are embodying that through your club and through your individual actions. And we just want to say thank you. These are things that shouldn't be overlooked in life, including your kindness and mindfulness and what your club represents. So thank you again.
Thank you. Thank you.
Keep it up. And you guys have been here a while. Please don't feel you have to. There's no etiquette. You can leave as well. Thank you guys again.
Thank you.
Mr. Kelk, was that the conclusion of your?
Yeah, that was really it. And ultimately, if we look at the long-term goal of New York State and Portrait of a Graduate, which was released by the state, it's certainly more focused on high school, but we start with the end in mind, of course, and the biggest portion of the Portrait of a Graduate for New York State and the center and the core is being culturally responsive. So having our wonderful students already begin that process is fantastic at this level.
Wonderful. No, thank you again. It's always wonderful having the kids, our students represent. Yeah. Do it. Get our air conditioning turned down. That's right. Well, thank you again. Are we ready to move to our next part? So we're going to now hold a public hearing concerning the proposed use of the repair reserve. Time is now, say, 7:22 p.m. If there are no objections from my fellow board members, I'd like to invite Sam Schneider to give us a presentation.
Nice. Well, welcome back to another repair reserve hearing. So obviously, we've seen a lot of positive work that we've done here in the building with the use of the repair reserve. We were able to put some money into the repair reserve at the end of last year, fiscal year. So let's talk about some new projects that we want to take a look at. So obviously, the repair reserve was created by the voters in May of 25, funds periodic work. We've said this before, it's worthy of saying it again. The work that we do with the repair reserve is smart financial policy because it allows you to take care of projects now before they become bigger and become more expensive. We're going to take a look at some projects this evening of repairing important structural deficits here in the building that if you allow them to linger longer are not going to get better, they're going to get worse. This building is the largest public investment in this community, and the board has an obligation to maintain the investment that the taxpayers have put into this structure. So you saw what the repair reserve has. Repair reserve, the words here that we're looking for are worn, torn, broken, and operable. That's the legal measure of whether something can be done with the repair reserve. So again, three-part methodology of accessing money in the repair reserve. The administration have identified projects that we think are worthy of attention. We hold a public hearing. The board uses that public hearing to educate themselves as to the projects, what they are, what their importance is, and then the board has an item on its agenda later on this evening to appropriate the money out of the reserve. Let's take a look at the projects. The first is the exterior fascia and cupola. So I want to just contrast the photos that you see on the right in the right field are photos of the rot that currently exists on the fascia in the older parts of the building. And you can see the cupola, if you get up to it on the roof up close, it's not in good shape. I want to contrast that with the photo that you see on the left that's in the green field. That's metal fascia. We are proposing under this to get all this rotted wood out of here and replace it with metal fascia, which will last much longer. It won't be as susceptible to decay from the elements and will help to maintain the building. The price that we have here is hopefully more than we're going to need. But until we actually get the fascia pulled off the building, we don't know what rot may exist underneath. So we are purposely budgeting some extra money in anticipation of the fact that there may be additional rot that is not currently visible. And as long as we're taking it off, we're going to go and take care of whatever rot may exist. The exterior paint and stucco, you can see again on the right, you see some pretty stark examples of how the paint and stucco have deteriorated over time. These are things like anything else you would have in your house. You have to maintain it or it's going to deteriorate. So that's an example of how we're going to paint that. Let's talk about the exterior steps. Again, I want to contrast what you see in the white field versus what you see in the green field. The green field represents what is a relatively brand new exterior concrete step that you have here at the school. You can see that it's one solid piece of concrete poured in place. It's stable. It's designed for people to be able to walk on safely. On the right, you can see examples of steps in this building that have deteriorated over time. You have some significant cracking. You have steps where you can see the steps going down to the basement, where some of the steps have a metal end cap, some of them don't. This is particularly difficult for contractors who have to access downstairs. It promotes slipping by having uneven steps. You can see brickwork here that leads into the building. This photo in the lower left of the white field was taken right by the entrance to the entrance that's immediately adjacent to the art room. And you can see that the railings have rusted fairly well. I wouldn't want to touch that railing. I don't think a lot of people want to touch that railing. So we need to make some improvements here. And so essentially what we are proposing here is that all of this deteriorated brickwork is going to come out, and you're going to end up with exterior steps that look like what you have on the left that already exist here at the building. Fencing. I love this photograph here that you can see because the fence is so old that this tree has literally grown around it, which is a statement, I guess, on the power of Mother Nature to grow around anything that humans may do. But this fence needs to be replaced. It abuts the neighbor just to our side over here. We're going to replace it with a brand new fence. It's going to have privacy slats in it. I know that neighbor over there has from time to time expressed some concern about what is on our side of the property, his side of the property. So we're going to get rid of this rusted out fence that the tree has taken over. We're going to replace it with a new fence with privacy slats in it. Playground safety surfaces. So this photograph here in the top shows the wood chips that exist on the, what I'm going to call maybe another word for it, the kindergarten playground that's on this side of the building over here. There is some poured in place rubber safety surface, but a lot of it is covered in wood chips. Wood chips need to be refreshed. They are not providing any safety service for you, any noticeable safety service for you at the moment, because they decay and they settle with time, and as they settle down, there's less and less safety service. On top of that, they are not handicapped accessible. We are proposing to take all of the wood chips out and replace it with a turf. The turf is actually, it's being installed as just to give you some information in the brand new playground that we're installing in East Hampton in John Marshall Elementary School. It's been used in a number of elementary schools on the East End. It looks akin to what you might see on a putting green of a golf course. So it's not the long artificial turf that you'd see on a football field, but it's much shorter, provides an excellent safety surface. It's very maintainable. Basically, all that will have to happen is periodically the custodial staff will just have to rake it up with a special rake that will refurbish it and give it new life. It's excellent safety service for children who may fall, and it's handicapped accessible, which I think would be a plus for students who may need that. That's all the projects we have. Again, money, because of we can't tell exactly what's behind the rotten fascia, we have appropriated in the proposed budget a little bit of extra money. And anything that's left over at the end of all these projects gets folded right back into the reserve at the end of the year for future items. All right?
Thank you very much, Sam. Well, first off, are there any questions on the board?
No, other than the metal fascia, on budget. The other budgets are pretty much in line with what you're expecting.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, the safety surface on the playground is fairly solid. The fence number is fairly solid. There's a little bit of extra money built in for the steps because we take something out and again, there's cracking underneath that we can't see that may require a little bit of work. We have a little bit left over, but again, whatever is not used rolls right back into the reserve for the future. I will tell you that the facilities director that you contract with East Hampton for, Greg Cobell, he's identified a whole bunch of other projects that need attention too. These are the ones that we had prices that are ready to go and we wanted to roll them out so we can get on the contractors' calendars and do as much of this as possible. Some of these may have to wait for better weather. We're getting into the time of the season where pouring concrete is not feasible. So some of this stuff may have to wait, but at least we will be able to issue purchase orders, assuming you vote for this, and get on the calendar of the contractors so we can get this going as soon as possible.
The grass that you were talking about, that has kind of got a cushioned surface underneath it, is it?
It's several different layers underneath. It starts with a solid concrete base, and then there's plenty of cushioning that goes underneath. There's an infill in the turf, and it's designed for playground use. So it's engineered for heavy foot traffic, heavy, kids like to kick and stomp and jump and whatever it is that kids do in playgrounds. It's designed for that use. It really has worked out quite well in other schools that have installed it.
You don't want to just put rocks in there and I wouldn't.
We're a little short on rocks right now, but this isn't a good alternative. And unlike the engineered wood fiber that you have there, it lasts. The wood fiber stuff, every 2 years, 18 months, 2 years, you got to basically refill it because it settles with time and it gets all over the place. So this is a far better approach.
So I'm on a committee that will on house. I'm not on building. I forgot that question. So you're placing the steps on that side, right? And
everywhere that there's.
What about the concrete out there that's on you?
That's also going to go with this too.
I didn't see a picture of that.
It was a little hard for me to get a photo with the way that the sun was shining last year. All the stuff that's cracked is going to
all
go.
that concrete's coming up the flat surface as well.
Everything that's cracked is going to go. If a panel of concrete is in good shape, we're going to leave it. But anything, the flat work, like there's that.
The walkway that goes right into the side of the building is really cracked and damaged and uneven, and that is part of the project as well.
Part of the project. I'm just asking for the expenses. You can show us the expenses.
No, we're gonna do as much of the flat work as as is required around the building. There's a walkway on the far side of the building. It's kind of an emergency exit walkway. That too needs some care. We want to leave things in better shape and have it in a good setting, in a good footing.
So that cost includes the walkway over there?
Yes.
Right now, it's just like dirt and frost, right?
The part that's concrete is going to be fixed. So, yeah.
One going out to the greenhouse, right? That one going out to the old greenhouse, but
yeah. So we're going to. The contractor's been here. He knows what the scope of the work is, and it's just a matter of making sure that we have appropriate weather to pour the concrete, and all the work will take place. We'll schedule obviously the steps with the exits around whatever the superintendent says we're able to do reasonably, and if we have to do it during the summer or during vacations, that's what we'll take care of. All right.
It was good to see, because with the photos, you didn't get a great sense of the scope of the project. Obviously, that's a significant expense, but beyond the photos, so the public knows, there's significant pathways.
Yes, and
that are also.
if you just take the fascia as an example, there is a significant amount of linear feet of fascia around this building that is wood that has rotted out. And if you go along and you look, you'll see it. And so, all that has to come down. It's a lot of scaffolding work that the contractor has to do, a lot of metal that has to be put in place. But again, that kind of stuff is what allows the building to be maintained and its efficacy as a structure to be continued.
Thank you for the explanation. And it is a lot of money to do all of this, but I think you said it, but it's worth reiterating. Not only are these things safety concerns, but they will never be cheaper than they are today to do. Is that a fair way to put that?
Yeah,
prices, as expensive as this is,
prices only go up, and prices only go up to buy the same thing. You're not going to be buying the same thing if you do this 3 years from now, because the rot will only get worse. The concrete will only get more cracked. And so it's important to maintain these things. You say for safety for the building, it's not going to get any better. So.
So safety, accessibility,
Mhm.
cost, aesthetics, these are all the reasons to put this into our priorities now.
And
And it's not like we're doing everything. As you said, there are other things in an old building that need to get done. So as expensive and fulsome as this seems, these are cherry-picked items out of other things that are out there. These are what, in your view, are the biggest priorities right now.
these are the priorities that we have right now that are ready for, board action. We have some other items that we want. We're still scoping out the projects. We're still waiting for contractors to give us numbers that we feel are solid. And so we don't want to put something before you that isn't, to use a phrase, ready for prime time. So, we'll be back with another hearing coming up when we're ready with another group of projects. But these are ready to go, and we want to get the ball rolling if you're in agreement. So,
Understood. And I think, it's just an important question, to look at both sides of it. But do you view this as a sustainable expense in terms of the money that we have in the repair reserve and utilizing it in the best way possible?
I think I think not only is it a sustainable expense, I think it's the responsible thing to do. You can not do this, and the building will deteriorate, and you will have to fix it at some point. And if not you, a future board will have to fix it, and it will be more expensive. And people may have suffered an injury because there's a crack in the pavement or on the steps. People will not get the benefit of the safety surface that we want to put in place in the playground. The neighbor will continue to have a substandard fence that, he deserves a regular fence as well. So, all these things are a responsible thing to do with the money that's been appropriated in the reserve.
Thank you. I appreciate you covering that. Are there any other questions, comments from the board? No? Okay, at this time, we could take questions from members of the public. Is there anyone here tonight or somewhere else that would like to call and make a comment? Go ahead, we'll go with the in-person, first person to raise their hand. Come on up.
Thank you. I'm David Buda. A couple of comments. First of all, again, I'd like to suggest that the meeting should have the benefit of some kind of amplification system so that people in the audience can hear you better, especially during the winter when the heat's on. It makes it hard to hear everything that's being said. The next thing is, I expected this presentation to have been put on the website. I think it probably was a technical glitch, but it was not. In case you're not aware of that, this presentation, just from previous experience, I expected it to have been prepared in advance. I expected it to have been posted, and I think for some reason it was not. It was a little, if you look at the screen, you'll see that in the lower left-hand corner of the box, there's a little, what looks like a section symbol. That's what happens when something is not attached. When you have attachments, the website looks different. So it didn't happen. I appreciate that you did present it tonight. The only problem is that from where I'm sitting, I couldn't see some of the numbers. 1 million and 1.5 million obviously adds up. There is money in the repair reserve now that we have established that last month based on the $4 million that's left over from last year's budget. None of these maintenance items that were presented tonight concern me really, with only one question about the playground surface, because the young kids playground, I guess that's K through 2, the equipment was replaced fairly recently. So I don't know whether or not you had done anything at all, or any consideration had been given when that was done to the surface material, or whether you just changed your mind, or whether or not the wood chips didn't work out. But obviously there are better, high-tech, more expensive alternatives, but it's a new playground as far as I know, except maybe 1 or 2 pieces. So I'm surprised that you're...
Well, the cheese, the cheese had to be put back in. That was a repainted relic from the old playground that the public really wanted in this. So, no, to your point, yes, a lot of the equipment is new, but there are some old favorites that are there as well.
All right, but you've decided now that you need a new surface.
Yeah, that's correct.
Or you're being recommended.
That playground predates my involvement here. I will tell you that the wood chips need to be either refreshed, recharged, however, whatever you want. We need more wood chips, or you need something else.
I just need to add, sorry to interrupt, that we did have a lot of suggestions from staff that students were out there, and when they throw the wood chips, they're very dangerous, they're sharp, they're pointy, and people were saying that they felt that they were not safe for students anymore. The last time that it was filled, the chips seemed to be quite large and sharp on both ends, and they feel that the chips are a safety hazard to some of the students.
I liked the rocks better.
Yeah, because those don't hurt when you throw them. But regardless of throwing in you need to do something. So we're recommending this because it's not throwing good money after bad. The wood chips are never, you're going to have to constantly maintain them. Every 18 months to 2 years, you're going to spend more money to refresh them. This surface is going to last a lot longer. Is it going to last indefinitely? No. But I think that it's a better value for what you're getting for your money. I can't speak to why they selected what they selected when they did. But, the contractor understands the scope of the project. He is going to work. The company is going to work around the existing structures. Nothing is changing with the structures. They are going to install it all around the existing structures. So the playground will, in terms of the stuff the kids play with, be exactly the same.
Just to address your point, Mr. Buda, I think there seems to be a learned lessons element here. I think maybe they were refreshed at the time. It was possibly an interest to reduce costs to the best of the ability. Since then, we've learned that there are increased opportunities for injury with the current surface that is not handicap accessible, and it needs to be done. And now that we have, it's obviously worn down enough, we are at a position where we now can choose a new surface. And I don't know if that fully answers your question, but that's certainly the rationale.
Okay,
where it's
that's fine. Again, there are no gold toilets in this presentation. These are all reasonable maintenance and necessary maintenance matters for safety and appearance and preservation of the structure. So I really had no other questions about that. But I do have some questions about procedure. I may be one of the handful of people in the town that read the November 13 published notice of this hearing. That gave the public at least 5 days notice of this hearing. And it's unfortunate that the presentation did not get uploaded at all. I'm sure that was just a snafu. What is missing, at least as far as I'm concerned, is I don't recall ever at a prior meeting or from reading the agendas of any prior meetings that you have ever adopted a resolution to direct the district secretary to publish the notice of the hearing, which would give the public additional notice in advance that there's going to be a hearing and the nature of the hearing. The standard procedure, at least in all other municipal bodies that I observe, is that when there's going to be a public hearing, there has to be a resolution adopted to schedule the public hearing and to direct the appropriate official to publish the notice of hearing. If that happened, I missed it. If it didn't happen, I think that's an oversight that needs to be explained. Lastly, I'm a little confused about where these numbers came from. I couldn't quite see it. It looked like $120,000 for the fencing. That's a big number. Now, obviously, when you are preparing to expend money, you develop a cost estimate. You haven't, I'm sure, at this point, entered into any contracts at a total cost of $1.5 million, although it's various vendors, and some may be on some kind of state contract. But I assume that you have not yet selected vendors. You haven't had. I assume that you will probably have to do some public bidding for some aspects of this proposal before you actually can consider awarding contracts. And that's why I'm surprised that the resolution that's on tonight's agenda related to this hearing states that, if it's adopted, that the president of the Board of Education and the superintendent would be authorized tonight to sign any necessary contracts with vendors and service providers to effectuate these repairs. Isn't that quite premature? I assume you have no vendors. I assume you had no bidding. I assume that you have no contracts. So I'm not sure why that last resolved paragraph in the resolution for tonight's action is even there. Could someone explain? Am I missing something about the procedure?
First of all, let's back up. Not only are there no golden toilets in this proposal, there are no toilets in this proposal. So I just want to go on the record as saying that, all of the contractors that we are planning to use with this are on pre-existing contracts that have been bid out by other municipalities for which we are allowed to piggyback. We don't have to do any of the bidding ourselves, which is honestly better for us. We don't have large purchasing power here. And I would rather be able to use a BOCES contract or a contract negotiated by the town of Brookhaven or some entity that has larger purchasing power to be able to get a better price to the taxpayers of this district. So I will tell you that every one of these contractors that we're proposing to use has a pre-existing contract that we're set to go. You know, if you vote to appropriate this tonight, we can issue purchase orders tomorrow for all of these things because we've already worked out the pricing under the pre-done bids by other municipalities for every single one of these contractors. You know, Residential Fence, RFC, Residential Fence Corporation, you know, to choose an example, has pre-existing contract. Off the top of my head, can I tell you it's from Suffolk County, from BOCES? I don't know, but it's one of those. That's who we use. And the price is fairly straightforward. You measure the length of fence, it's a big number, it's a big fence, you know, and that's what it is. It's all pre-done. And one of the things that we prefer to do, and I say we, referring to Mr. Cobell and I, prefer to do with these repair reserve projects is use contractors that are on contract, so we don't have to mess around with bidding or any of the procedures that introduce an element of unknown, right? We're coming to you with a number that we're going to spend or less. We have no authorization to spend more. And so I want to be very careful when we put numbers before you that I feel somewhat confident that this is the number. And that's what the pre-existing contracts allow us to do.
Does the law allow you to deal with entities, contractors that have any previously bid contracts with other municipalities, or is it only schools, or is it anywhere in the country, anywhere in the state or the region, or how does that work?
Well, I would.
You can educate me.
I would advise you to take a look at the district's purchasing policy and the New York State purchasing law rather than me speak about it. But I will tell you that we normally, as a matter of course, make use of contracts that are negotiated, bid out, negotiated by other schools, other municipalities, other collectives. BOCES is a great example. There's a number of them. The county does them. Larger towns do them. There's a cooperative run by a school district, Clarkstown School District upstate. They run something called, just fell out of my head. But again, it's a collective of school districts that allow them to participate. And I would rather use those because you can get better buying power every single time.
Okay, I appreciate that. I was only aware of the BOCES contracts, but obviously it's more extensive.
And in fact, BOCES, I should say, not only BOCES has as part of its purchasing cooperative, not only most of their component school districts, but they have a number of towns and villages and fire districts that are within their catchment area that participate in it. Anything that's done according to the law of New York State when it comes to purchasing is fair game for us to use.
All right. Lastly, and on the last thing on the hearing, does anyone have a comment or response to my question whether or not there was a previous resolution authorizing this hearing and directing that the notice of public hearing be published in last Thursday's Star?
I'm not aware of any requirement in the general municipal law covering the use of repair reserve that would require such a procedure, but I would invite the board to consult with their attorney if they have a question.
Thank you.
Yeah, appreciate that. Actually, thank you, Mr. Schneider, for going over that. That was a good question too. I think that was a nice piece of education. You know, what you're getting with these cooperatives is you have a vetted standard, efficiency, cost savings. I mean, it's a wonderful thing. When you're going out on your own doing these things, you're subject to any vendor's standards, and to have these things available to us that have that kind of history and buying power that we can take advantage of.
Mr. Fredericks, excuse me, it also helps because the vendors are used to dealing with municipalities. They understand the unique realities that we operate with. We don't pay till the project is, reach certain stages. They have to do the work first. They have to carry certain insurance that would be well in excess that any private contract might have. They have to pay prevailing wage, which is extremely important. They're familiar with all these things. If you, and I speak from experience doing this, if you conduct a local bid, you're going to get contractors who are very well intentioned, but may not understand the intricacies and the unique applications of municipal work. And often what will happen is once they learn what does prevailing wage mean? They will withdraw their offer, withdraw their bid, because they can't meet it.
No, that was a great exchange of learning. I really appreciate that. Are there any other questions, LTV, either calling from away or here tonight?
We have no callers on the line.
All right, thank you. Thank you, everyone. There is an item on the agenda later this evening to appropriate funds from the repair reserve. If there are no further questions, I'm going to ask for a motion to close the public hearing on the reserve. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Do I have a second? All right, motion carries. The time is now 7:50. Oh, wow, 8:50, yeah, so. Up there. 7:50, okay. That's like my watch. Right, so we're now going to reconvene to the public comment session. I like to say in the beginning that we are about to convene to the public comment period of our meeting. It's absolutely crucial for us to hear from our community members about their concerns and issues, and always appreciate all of your comments. While we may not be able to respond to your concerns and questions tonight, we do take them very seriously and want to have sufficient time to process and research issues if need be, so we can respond thoughtfully at a future meeting or have the appropriate staff member get back to you at the right time. I also want to point out that under state and federal privacy laws, we are unable to entertain any comments or questions about school personnel or any individual identities on these matters. We'd ask you to go through the appropriate administrative channels. Finally, we intend that our school board meetings serve as an example to our students that members of our school board and members of our community can deal with controversial issues in a civil manner and demonstrate mutual respect. In that spirit, we ask that all speakers and members of the audience maintain civility and respect for any divergent views that may be expressed. We ask that speakers please address their comments to the board directly rather than the audience. Thank you. So we did have some comments for the hearing, but that was separate. We're now going to have comments for the public commentary. These would be on agenda items only. Are there any comments from the public here or elsewhere tonight?
We have no callers on the line.
Callers? Come on.
All right. Again, this might have been the same kind of technical glitch, but with respect to item 5.7, approving a memorandum of agreement with the Teachers Association, there was no copy posted of that MOA, at least not accessible from the website. I think this one's happened in the past. It's a matter, I think, of making that document publicly available.
It's right there.
It is available. It is there.
It's right there.
It was not available to a user of the website.
Okay. Would you like me to explain the MOA?
If you would,
Okay.
because I couldn't find
So
it.
we are starting a National Junior Honor Society in our middle school, and the MOA is to add that to the teacher's contract because we're going to be appointing 2 advisors this evening that are going to run the club.
So it's just a minor change. The way the resolution is drafted, especially because you might have been given a copy, but trust me, if you go to the website, you can't access it, you can't see it. It's just not.
I'll check.
There's a problem. And I know it's not intentional, it's just a problem. So I didn't know what kind of agreement that was. Secondly, and again, the corrective action plan, which is item 6.6, same problem, same snafu. I didn't even remember that you had any major issues with the audit that needed to be responded to, but that document, whatever it may be, is not accessible to the public who's using the board docs.
You know, it's showing up on our.
It's not showing up on the public.
Okay. We'll check it. Thank you for bringing that to our attention.
It's a minor
Appreciate it.
problem. And again, if you look at your website, I think you'll find the difference between those documents that the public can access, the different icon in the lower corner, as opposed to the ones where public cannot access. So it's just something that needs to be.
We'll check. Thank you for bringing it to our attention.
Possibly something we could do where we can not just check these things if we're logged in, but have someone check in logged out. I think maybe.
It happened once before.
It might be because we can see it logged in and
the public can't.
Logged out.
It's a matter of making the document available.
It doesn't show up.
Yeah, no, thank you for bringing that to our attention. I think that's something we could try to.
And then one more substantive thing with regard to item 6.3, the acceptance of the treasurer's report. I take it Jonathan LePage, your district treasurer, is not here. I have a question, and maybe Sam can actually answer this best or better. I watch the monthly treasury reports, and I'd like to know why, in the past, the repair reserve, which is part of the general fund, and the capital reserve, each month you can track the changes, the expenditures, the additions based on the interest. For some reason, last month, in October, it seems that a separate, that all of the repair reserve money was put into the general investment category under the New York Cooperative Liquid Asset Security System, and not under the specific line for the repair reserve, which means that you have not been tracking any interest for the repair reserve and putting it under that code. And when the expenditures are made now from the repair reserve, it seems to be inconsistent with prior practice, because you now have all of the repair reserve commingled under account A201 instead of the A230. So I'm just wondering if that's something that needs to be corrected, or whether there's an explanation for it.
Well, I can't speak to how Jonathan did his entries. I will tell you that when money is invested from a school district in the liquid asset fund, they have a series of sub-funds in the, all right, so let's back up. CLASS is a cooperative of various school districts that pool their money. It gets invested in a secure investment on Wall Street, and it churns out interest that's well in excess of what a brick and mortar bank can produce. So school districts, this is only for school districts, the cooperative is only open to school districts, invest money there from time to time in order to be able to generate interest when you don't need to have it in a checking account in order to be able to pay bills. When you open your account, when the district opens its account with New York CLASS, they open a series of sub-accounts. So you might, I'm going to make up an example, you might have a sub-account for your repair reserve money. You might have a sub-account for your cafeteria fund. You might have a sub-account for extra classroom activity fund. All of that gets pooled into what I believe you are seeing in the treasurer's report. But when we actually get the statements from your class, it delineates out where you've put the sub money and delineates out the interest that is attributable to each of those things. Again, I can't speak to how Jonathan produces treasurer's report. I can tell you that class tracks these things as a matter of course and gives you statements that as long as you have it set up with each of those sub funds that I gave as an example, you're going to get the monthly statements back that show it.
Well, in fact, you do have three sub funds. One is the General Investment New York Class Fund, one is the Repair Reserve New York Class Fund, and one is the Capital Reserve New York Class Fund. And in the past, the Repair Reserve money was in that sub fund, and any interest that was earned monthly was identified as being attributable to the Repair Reserve, and all interest generated by the substantial Repair Reserve of 4.1 million plus would go into the future benefit of the Repair Reserve. There seems to be either a delay or something that is not intuitively obvious as to how this is being accounted for this time around. It's different than in the past. Maybe it's because you have changes in your procedures or personnel.
Again, I can't speak to how Jonathan has prepared the treasurer's report, but I imagine we will allow him to explain it at the next board meeting. If a change has to be made, he will make it. If an explanation can be made that shows what he's doing, I'm sure he will do that as well.
It would seem to me it's just a matter of allocating the interest and putting it into the appropriate sub.
We got it. Thank you.
That's it. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Anyone else here tonight for commentary, public comments on agenda items only? LTV?
Still 0 callers on the line.
All right, excellent. All right, we'll conclude public commentary, and we're now going to move to consent agenda. I ask for a motion to approve consent agenda items 5.1, 5.14 on our consent agenda. Do I have a motion? Second? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? None? Motion carries. All right, moving on to business items. I ask for a motion to approve items 6.1 through 6.17 under business items on our agenda. Do I have a motion? we have a second? All right. All those in favor? Any opposed? All right, none opposed. Motion carries for those business items. Or actually, and well, I should have asked for Sam to review the business items before we voted on them. We had reviewed them.
That's
so
fine. All
thoroughly
right.
already.
Let me give you a couple highlights now that the horse is out of the barn, running around the field.
It's already felt quite thorough, but let's go through.
All right. The corrective action plan is minor. You have two open items from the prior year's audit. So for the audit for the period in June of 24 that hadn't been resolved, one related to training of extra classroom activity advisors, which we have already corrected, and the other so minor I cannot recall it off the top of my head. I will highlight 6.8, which is your annual contract with the Flex third-party administrator. So if you're not familiar with Flex, or if you're benefit the public, this is an opportunity for employees to divert a portion of their earnings to an account that's held in trust in their name. It is pre-tax dollars, and that they can use that account for eligible expenses, most related to doctor's visits, pharmacy visits, dental visits, et cetera, et cetera. The advantage to the school district here is that by making it pre-tax dollars, you are not paying any payroll taxes on the money that the employee is earning. The employee doesn't have to pay any payroll, Social Security or FICA taxes themselves, and it's exempt from federal and state tax, and you get the savings on the payroll taxes portion. So there's a distinct financial advantage for the district to offer that plan. 6.10, we've heard it. Obviously, you heard what I will term an excellent presentation on the repair reserve. You can fill in your own adjective. And if I could just say a word about items 6.11 through 6.17. So we are trying to submit the final cost report for your very large bond project that has been functionally done for a long time. Unfortunately, the paperwork doesn't match the expenditures in that. All of these change orders that we have on this agenda were never approved by the board. So when we take the accounting entries of what was spent, they don't match with the contract awards of what the board has approved. So we need these items here to be done, albeit extremely late, but better late than never, so that we can file the final cost report with the state and begin to get the state aid flowing on this project. So that's why all these things are here. I can't speak to why it wasn't done at the time.
Right, neither can I. But that's why it was. Those last items were something that's way in the past, and we're just going through procedure.
It doesn't. Right. It doesn't represent any actual money that we are now sending out or receiving back. All of this has been done and closed for a long time, but we need to ask the board to approve these items so that we can file the paperwork with the state and be done with this.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. It's important to say it out loud. All right, excellent. Well, we have gone through that already. Are there any questions, though, on these matters retroactively? Okay. All right. Thank you, everybody. We're going to move now to Section 7 in new business. It appears we have a policy review here. I ask for a motion to discuss and approve item 7.1 under new business. Do I have a motion? Do I have a second? Now I'm going to allow you to actually talk about it before we vote on it. Nancy, can you review this item for us, please?
Yeah, well, Kate, you can review it. Kate's on the policy committee along with Jonathan and Matt Shimkus, and they had their meeting. And Kate, I'll let you go ahead.
So as part of our extensive review of the policies for the district, the policy committee is recommending that we move the honor roll, the high honor roll, and the selection of the valedictorian policies out of the purview of the Board of Education and to the administration. So we're not making any changes to these policies, but we're just moving it away from the board. It's really our opinion that this is more of an administrative matter than a board matter.
Makes sense, yeah. Yeah, I should mention the board tonight, we did our board retreat, which helps us get best practices from the New York State School Boards Association. As part of that process, we do learn best practice in governance and finance, and it's a team building exercise that we get to do, which is wonderful. And oftentimes one of the perennial subjects that comes up is governance and roles and responsibilities. And it helps define what's under the board's purview, versus, at the 30,000 foot level versus getting into the weeds and being at risk of micromanaging. And in the spirit of that, it looks like this policy, is something that is better suited to be handled by our administration and doesn't need to actually sit in the policy section. And as such, tonight we'll vote on that. So that's good. But I thought it was a good opportunity to talk about that your board does get education, like it's a form of continuing education, and it's a way for us to look at new standards and keep up on everything. So I want to take that opportunity to share that with everybody. Are there any questions with regard to this policy from the board? No? All right. It sounds like we're ready to vote on it. All those in favor of this policy? Aye. Any opposed? None? Our motion carries. So it's like we have, well, that was a committee update of sorts, but now we have some formal committee updates. So first, do we do? We'll communicate now, Eric and I, but Eric, Principal Eric with a K. Mr. Kellett, would you like to do? I know I had to leave a little early for another committee, the last committee meeting we had. So I'm happy to do it unless you have more notes than I do.
No, I shared notes really, and we're in the early stages of this year of a really wonderful committee where we're bringing in members of the community. We're communicating with them through multiple channels. Our website, again, is where we want to focus our attention, but we also have our journalism club sending out emails frequently to committee members, Ms. Janice, as well as on the communication committee too. And she receives those emails, sends it out to the community. But we really want to highlight the opportunities for the outside to come to the school where that's appropriate, and that's ultimately the conversations that we're continuing to find those avenues, because we do have such a great community outside of the school walls who want to help and want to contribute to the future. So finding and identifying those needs and then the channels to reach out to them is really where we are right now. Our next meeting will focus on the same.
Right. Yeah, one thing I'd add is about a third of the members of that committee are members of our community. They're not in the school at all, and they're wonderful in terms of giving us insight as to what the community might want to hear about in terms of events or goings on at the school, that we can be more inclusive of our community at large and the ways in which they might participate. We've also established an email address that people can subscribe to get information. They can opt into information about the school. The school curates that information and at some type of cadence, whether it's biweekly or monthly, that they get an email giving them, updates with the school. Do we have the email that we could share live right now? Is that possible?
Yes. It's community@springschool.org.
community@springschool.org. For you listeners out there who want a little extra information,
Yes.
go ahead and email that.
And hopefully we can maybe get an email out about the church project.
I just received from the journalism club the other day.
Amazing.
Just going over it. It was supposed to. I scheduled to go out either tomorrow or the next day. And it mentions Turkey Trot. It mentions our Veterans Day celebration, and several other things, bake sales, going on in the school. And it's a different pairing from the journalism club every time they send it. So last month it was 2 members, and then this month it's 2 other members. So Danielle Hamilton does a great job including
different
the whole,
writers.
different writers, yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah, I do also want to add that it's not just us sending information out to the community. The community now has the channel really through myself, and then I send it out to whoever needs it or whoever is most appropriate. So there's tons of great opportunities for our kids throughout this community and neighboring communities that could provide experiences for families, for our kids themselves. And so we disseminate that amongst our school population as well. So it's us sending great information out about school ongoings, but also community comes to us in terms of, hey, this is going on. Your kids have this great chance to learn or explore whatever it is. So we're starting a really great partnership with the greater community.
That's wonderful. And you know, the committees enrollment is ongoing. If anyone is compelled to join, certainly they can reach out to our school at any time. But the committees are in full flow right now, and it's wonderful to have people out there giving different input and insights and being able to make recommendations to the board, in a way that the board can't always see everything. So these committees are a pair of eyes and a way to collect information to make a better decision-making process for us as well. I know the policy committee already had a comment on the policy, but is there anything else out of the policy committee? Moving to that one now. Matt or Kate, you guys want to add anything to that, or are we updated?
Pretty tight schedule of policy, of reviewing all the policies. So we're chugging along.
Yeah, I mean, it is a full policy overhaul. We're really looking to update everything. It's a huge undertaking, by the way, to that committee. So thank you guys and all the other members of that committee. It's not the usual. It looks like a brick, when you look at that. So thank you for the continued work on that. In terms of the buildings and grounds committee, Nancy, did you want to?
So we had our first meeting. We did a walkthrough with the committee, both the exterior of the building and the interior. The projects that we had tonight in the public hearing, you saw mostly exterior projects. We're in the process of getting quotes on all the interior projects that were looked at by the committee. Once we get those quotes, we'll come back as a committee and look to prioritize what things we think are important. Obviously, health and safety first, and then going from there to see what projects are important. The committee will bring it to the board to discuss what projects we might want to move forward to maybe this year or going on a 2-3 year plan going forward.
Wonderful. Thank you. And finally, we have our wellness committee update. Emma, is there something to report on wellness?
We have met 1.5 times, we'll say.
1.5. Decibel.
Second meeting, but I don't know that we're ready for an update just yet, because we need to see the willingness of involvement in certain events, but we're starting to plan what I think would be a really fun wellness event for the school, the students, community, and all together. And we also came up with a few ideas that could potentially, work with policy.
Wonderful. Yeah.
Having to do with health and wellness. So.
It's just nice to have a committee like that, to just have a space to discuss something that's so easy to overlook in schools. Not every idea gets to manifest into something, but just to idealize thing, whether it's, something for the staff or the students, social emotional learning, health, fitness, it's cool to have that forum. And, when you guys have some ideas ready to share, we're ready to listen. Yeah. That's all the committee updates for tonight. We can move to our superintendent's report and recommendations. So I ask for a motion to approve items 9.1 to 9.3 under superintendent's report and recommendations. You have a motion. Second, I heard a couple of. Thank you. Nancy, can you review these?
Okay, first, I always am appreciative when you get donations as a school. We had 2 donations that asking you to accept this evening. The first is from Goldberg's Bagels, and they donated 300 bagels to our life skills program. The students were selling those bagels for a fundraiser for different field trips that they go on throughout the year. So very appreciative of that. We also had a community member who donated $300 to our elementary music department, and we're very thankful for that donation as well. So we're, once again, very grateful to people who donate to our programs here at the school. And now I just have our enrollment, our update, and some school news. And just want to talk a little bit about some events that we've had here at the school on November 7th. It marked the end of our first marking period, and our elementary teachers, in collaboration with the administration, developed new report cards that align with our state standards. And particularly our new ELA curriculum. Parent-teachers conferences were held on November 13th and 14th. everything went very smoothly. We received a lot of positive comments from parents about the students having a good experience so far this year. We also had our Veterans Day celebration on November 10th. It was really a special event. Our K-5 students and staff honored our local veterans with song and dance at Spirit Meet. And afterwards, our middle school students served breakfast to the veterans and presented them with thank you cards, recognizing their service to our country. So we appreciate the teachers that put this on each year. It's really a nice way to thank our veterans. And just want to mention that this evening, as you saw in the agenda, we appointed 2 advisors to the Junior National Honor Society. This is a new program that we're introducing to the school, and we're excited for this opportunity for our middle school students. And then today, also our K-5 students participated in the Fall Harp Rally, and students were quizzed on information regarding life cycle and habitats of various birds. Our staff, and I give them a lot of credit, dressed up as ospreys or turkeys and competed in fun activities while students cheered for their favorite team. The turkeys were victorious, and in the spirit of kindness, congratulated the ospreys on a job well done. So it was a very fun event for our students. And just some upcoming events, as Kate had mentioned, we have the annual turkey trot, and that's going to be on November 24th. And it's begins at 9:15 a.m. And then on December 7th, something that's been brought back, I mentioned at prior board meetings, is Lights of Love. And that's going to be the lighting of the Christmas trees. And it will be at 4 p.m. at Ashuwa Hall. Some of our students will be present and singing songs as well. So it should be a really nice evening. We also have the PTA Elf on a Shelf holiday shop that's going to take place at the school the week of December 8th through the 12th. It's a really nice time. Students get to go into the shop and buy Christmas gifts for their families and friends. And also just want to mention that student artwork will be on display at Guild Hall until the first week in January. It's really beautiful display. I give our art teachers and our students a lot of credit. Makes us proud when we go in there and see the work that they've created. So that's just a little bit of what's been going on in the school. It's flying by, and it's the holiday season, so I'm looking forward to a very busy time between now and our winter break. And then I just want to share our enrollment report as I do each board meeting, and just to take a look down a little bit, scroll down a little, and as you'll see, our enrollment has increased by 12 students since this time last year in our pre-K through 8th grade. And just so you're aware, additionally, we just found out today we do have about 10 new applications for registration between pre-K and 9th grade, just in this week alone, which will be students who are entering during the month of December. So our enrollment is steady and actually increasing slightly over last year.
10 new students just this month.
Yes, so far, and we're getting additional students.
Thank you. First of all, thank you to Goldbergs and a community member for their donations. And I always appreciate when you list all the goings on, and that makes me need to thank the administration and our staff for putting on all these events. There's so much to manage in a school, and I never want that to go overlooked. All the formal stuff that needs to get done, that we always keep our students first, and that there's so many activities and events and things like that year round. So very much appreciate that. With regard to the superintendent's report, are there any questions from the board? Any comments from the board? Nothing to improve there, but I appreciate that very much. Thank you so much. Although actually, no, I guess we do have to approve the one thing. Are there any, all those in favor of approving items 9.1, 9.3? Approved? Aye. Any opposed? No? Motion carries. We've been here a long time together.
No.
And I have to go back to work after this meeting, so forgive some of the not reading the time, the fatigue. So we're good with that. We're now going to move to public comment number 2. These are comments that are not necessarily on the agenda. Is there any comments both here tonight or on the phone that needs to be made right now? Anybody here? All right, come on, let's end strong.
Thank you. The enrollment report was published and made it on the website and available to the public. And if you look at this page, you can see the difference in, the document is showing there. When I go to the website, if you don't see that document there, go back a page. That box tells you that the document is part of the website that the public can access. So once it was published today, posted today, it was accessible. I just want to point that out.
I don't always get the enrollment until right before I try to.
Right, no, I'm not criticizing the
So you're
timing.
just showing
I'm
an
just saying
example of a successful link versus an unsuccessful link.
Correct.
We now have
Correct.
Exhibit A and B.
Right,
Thank
and
you.
obviously, the Treasury report and all the other revenue reports and many of the other reports were publicly available, and that's why I was able to look at them before the meeting and make an intent. I would like to think an intelligent comment about some of the documents because I can read them in advance. Now, I would strongly urge you to take Sam's advice, to speak to your counsel, to find out whether or not you can, should, or must do something more to let the people know, the public, your constituency, in and outside of the school, that there's going to be a public hearing. Matters that have our subject of public hearing are important. You're expending large sums. To have a public hearing that is only publicized by a little newspaper ad 5 days before in the Star is not, that's the bare minimum. And I would suggest it's not even the bare minimum because to schedule a public hearing, maybe not under general municipal law, perhaps under open meetings law or some other state or education law requirement, to have a public hearing, you have to know that you want to have a public hearing. You should have to adopt a resolution directing your district secretary to publish that. You've done this now at least twice, and I don't understand the procedure. Whether it's required by any law that Sam knows about or not, it's something you should do. And why? Because we have press in this community. We have 2 papers. They may not be here tonight, but they watch the meetings. They learn about things that are coming up. They can investigate. They can report. They can communicate to the public. Hey, there's going to be a public hearing next month. $1.5 million of needed repairs are going to be authorized. People might want to know that in advance and not just have to find out, as I did, by going through the weekly legal ads, that there's going to be a public hearing tonight. Why not?
Yeah, we'll take your
I
comments
appreciate
into
these
consideration.
suggestions.
Yeah. Are there any other comments, either at home, LTV, or?
Yeah, we have no callers on the line.
All right, thank you. And thank you, everyone, for your comments tonight and your participation. I'm now going to ask for both to adjourn the meeting. Motion, I got one. Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. No one opposed. Motion carried. Meeting adjourned. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, LTV.
Have a good evening.